Easy go. Hello, guys. Thank
Hello.
you so much for joining us. We've got Jim and Tom. So for those who don't know of you guys, tell us a little bit about yourself and where you're from.
So we are the rock band Electric Enemy. We're based in London. My name's Jim. I'm the singer. We also have Tom, the drummer, who
Hello.
is a Birmingham lad.
Oh, so that's great. Tom, you're a Birmingham lad. That's great. We're going to get into that, and I'd like to talk to you about. In fact, the first thing I should ask you is, can I hear you say Birmingham?
Birmingham.
Birmingham. Go on, Jim. How about you?
Birmingham.
Okay. Now you put on a real Birmingham accent.
He probably put an accent.
He did, didn't he?
I went a bit too far.
Does it annoy you, Tom, when you hear people say Birmingham?
A little. You can tell when it's fake. You can tell when it's fake.
Or have you become one of those people now where you go Birmingham?
What do I go? Birmingham. I don't know what to do.
So look, I've digressed slightly. So tell us, how did the name come about? Electric Enemy? Yeah.
Yeah. So it was there was a whirlwind of suggestions, as there usually are with any band name. And I think kind of the main way of looking at it, we can tell you a number of stories, some of which won't be true. But I think the main idea would be that it's just kind of a commentary on how our lives these days are kind of run by electronic devices, and just everything is electronic. And just the way how that can become the enemy to yourself, and kind of your connection with real life. So kind of Electric Enemy, obviously we see a lot of the hypocrisy in what we do, especially on social media. But we're not going to talk about the hypocrisy right now.
Okay. I was just going to wait for you. We don't use electric guitar. We don't use, synthesizers. Or are you... Is that true? Or I'm just... No, or is that...
No, not at all. I am a huge fan of 80s synthesizers.
Okay. I was waiting suddenly for this revelation. Oh, yeah, no. So for yourself, when did this journey start? How long have you guys been together in terms of the band itself? Or
so we kind of we've been together for a while, for 2 or 3 years as a band. But it was only last year that we decided to change our names. We kind of thought we've learned a lot from the industry, and kind of what to and not to do. We are still learning, obviously, but we decided to kind of approach everything fresh. And, just kind of a week or two after that, played a gig and got a management deal. So, it worked.
No, I mean, that's wonderful. I mean, Tom, what would you say? Do you get to a stage where you kind of go, look, guys, this is where we're at the moment. This is how far we've got. What do we really want? Or because it's a big change, isn't it, to suddenly kind of have that conversation and take a different direction, take a different approach? Is that easy, or do you need somebody to kind of champion you to do that?
It's a difficult one, because I think you sort of trust your instincts and know that what we've learned up to this point is great. But I think with what we know now, we can actually build this up from scratch in just such a cool way. And it's like you can actually steer the ship. You can use your knowledge and steer that ship to where you want to go. And it's kind of, I'd say, internal pressure. And then you said your instinct kind of drives it. You sort of know in your heart.
And as a result of that, is there more pressure on you to actually produce songs? And I'm just saying, perhaps, I don't know, maybe you still have that approach from a creative perspective where you go, right, guys, we're having 6 shots of Sambuca each, and then we're going to start writing. Or is it a case of we're going into a room, we're locking the doors, no mobile phones, no nothing, we're going to create something?
Our writing process is a bit different to that. We'll arrange songs like that for sure. Lock ourselves in a room and build up a song. But Jim is our kind of head writer, so he'll come in with loads of ideas. He'll bring them in to the band room. Think of it like Ready, Steady, Cook. You get the ingredients, and then we gotta learn how to put pieces together and turn them into a dish.
I like that. Ready, Steady, Sing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for you, Jim, what's your inspiration then? What are you? Are there certain things that you kind of you want changes in the world? Are you kind of quite political in terms of the stuff that you do, or is it about relationships, emotions that perhaps you kind of go, you know what, guys, I had a real bad day today with my partner, and this is how I felt. There's a song.
That's never been the case.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's kind of, I think as a band, we're quite political. We're kind of quite aware of a lot of the stuff going on in the world, and we like that to kind of reflect. I mean, I certainly do in the lyrics. There's kind of inspiration from everywhere, and you know, it could be literally anything. It could be a documentary. It could be anything. It could be a personal experience. We're quite open about kind of mental health issues and all that kind of stuff in this band, and we wear that on our sleeves a bit. So I think, for example, Hollow Eyes, that's a song which kind of could seem like it's a love song gone wrong or something like that, but you know, that's it was more about kind of looking at your own hollow eyes and kind of seeing an element of yourself which maybe hasn't aged particularly well, and you just need to kind of, you need to sort yourself out basically and kind of move on from that relationship with that part of yourself, if you know what I mean. So it's kind of looking at things in a very abstract kind of way.
I mean, there's this whole thing, isn't there, whereby men generally, they don't talk about mental health. So was that quite a difficult thing, or was that something you kind of saw in the market where you think, you know what, this is something we need to share, or based on your own experiences?
I think it was probably based more on our own experiences, to be honest. I think we just kind of thought, you know, it's very easy in the music industry, especially, to kind of not be particularly genuine. And Tom, would you agree? I mean, have you ever heard such a thing?
Oh God, yes.
Yeah, so I think you know, we just tried to be as honest as possible with ourselves and with our followers, basically. So I think that's kind of where it comes from. As blokes, yeah, I guess it is technically historically harder, but I think great strides have kind of been made globally in that actually being addressed. Like we're having this conversation now.
Yeah, you know? Totally. Would you kind of, what experience would you say that you've kind of gained from being in those dark places? Because there are many artists, you know, who up and coming, who've been established, who fall into those dark areas and are suffering with mental illness. What experience did you use to try and help you overcome those hurdles? Would you say were there certain things that did you seek help? Did you kind of go into a shell, or is it friends? Is it family? What kind of things would you say to anyone out there who might be experiencing something like that?
Oh, it's probably a lot of stuff, I suppose. In my experience, I sought help last year, almost a year ago, and it's a mixture of all of it. It's kind of you go into your shell, and then your friends spot it. And then sort of over a period of time, there's a voice in your head saying you need to sort yourself out. And then it gets to a point where, you know, you just sort of, for me, it was like, I'm just sick of it. So I told my GP, and then went down the avenue that leads you down. And then for sure, talking about it with someone who can help and who's trained in it, it's unbelievable how good it is to pull you out of wherever you are, or whatever demon is getting you. I would absolutely recommend that for sure. But it takes a long time to get ready to admit that to yourself.
Wow,
for sure.
I thank so much for sharing that with us, Tom. I mean that thing that you've said about taking that step, I think it's the hardest thing, isn't it? Just to go to the doctor, which is the hardest thing, and acknowledgement. Wait there, I've got something that I need to resolve. Yeah, we'll move on from that. Not that just in terms of time, because and thank you for sharing it. I think it's a really important thing, you know, just for others out there who kind of go, what shall I do? You'd say, contact your GP. You know, there's that thing, and they obviously send you to the various sources and help that you can get.
And if I can, sorry, if I can quickly say, it's not supposed to be easy. So don't beat yourself up if you're finding it hard to admit it to someone.
Yeah,
great.
Well said. Yeah, 100%.
Going back to your creative process, how do you start? Do you start on a chorus? Is that what you kind of do, where you build up from it, or is it just? I know we talk about bringing all the ideas, ready, steady. I said sing, but ready, steady, cook, whatever. That kind of thing. Well, how does it go for you guys?
In general, basically, I'll bring pretty much a fully crafted acoustic song to the table. So there'll be verses, everything in place. It's already gone through the inner scrutiny which songs need to go through in order for them not to be torn down by the band, because there's nothing worse than you've just gone, I think I've done it, guys, I think I've written the best song of all time, and then one of them just looks at you and goes, nah, it's nice is a word which I just would do with not hearing anymore. That would be fine. It kind of, sometimes it will start with the music, sometimes it'll start with the lyrics. In terms of songs like Hollow Eyes and Save Me, another one of our tracks on Spotify, those were literally written in about 10 minutes, all completely. I think I've managed to get myself to this weird stage where I can just tune out absolutely everything else. My head kind of drops to one side and the voice is channeled through. You know what I mean? So it's interesting. Yeah, just opening that tap is, that's the hardest thing to do, I think. And when that's there, the work does itself.
Who's the biggest critic? Is it Tom?
It's probably me. It's probably me.
Well, I could think of someone in the band, but
and Tom.
and is that quite difficult sometimes? Because how many of you are in the band? Is there?
So there's 4 of us. There's myself, Tom, Orlando, our amazing lead guitarist, and Saz, our amazing bassist. She's currently stuck in Italy because of the world situation. But yeah, no, there's 4 of us. But I think because of our multitude of opinions, it can sound like there's about 400 of us at times.
Who has the final say?
That's a good question. Tom, who has the final say?
It's well, if we can't agree, we send it off to our manager, and he sort of, gets us in line. If we're all pulling in separate directions, we go to the manager in that instance.
Our manager is amazing.
But more often than not, we do come to an agreement at some point. But if you do get stuck, we delegate it out.
When Tom says, "Right, guys, I'm leaving the band if you don't do it this way."
Well, no. We just say, "Oh, can you pick us up some sandwiches and a meal deal on your way back?"
Yeah, do you know any drummers?
So Tom, for you, what's your biggest inspiration generally?
I guess musically, I just listen to so many records. I love everything and whatever's new. So I'm always on Radio 1 and stuff, trying to find stuff. New music, for sure. I'm loving trap music at the moment. But the guys from the past, like The Police, Rush, the 1975, Post Malone, those guys just kind of get me going. But everything, anything to do with, even like piece of paintings or films can inspire an idea to, either write something on the drum set or inspiration for social media or anything like that. So I'm just a sponge for everything.
How about yourself, Jim?
Number one favorite band of all time will always be the Beatles, because for me that's where it's just amazing. I can pick a new favorite song every day. On the whole, though, I have all of us in the band, none of us are kind of music snubs. We love every single kind of music. So some days it could be ABBA, some days it could be KRS-One, some days it could be, it just keeps on varying. I mean, recently, for example, I went to the shops just to get some light bulbs, and I listened to Hold the Line by Toto like 3 times in a row. And just, by the end, I was just really, really getting into it on the way home. I didn't care who was watching. I was like, hold the line.
And for you guys, where do you get your buzz? Is the buzz the performance? Is it the creative process? Is it, because it might be different for each of you, is it, I know that you've performed, is it Isle of Wight Festival that you, was it last year? That you did, I mean, is that for you like your biggest buzz, or is it a case of, well, actually, I prefer an intimate crowd more than, the big crowd, or is it a different type of energy?
I think there's a very diplomatic way of answering this, if you don't mind, Tom. I'm going to give it a go.
Okay.
We love intimate crowds, but we want stadium crowds.
Okay.
But yeah, where do you get your buzz from, Tom?
Definitely playing live. They all give a buzz. Like when you produce a song and record a song, that's got a buzz to it because you're excited. You're looking over the pot of gold and you're excited about what it could do. But then playing live is the ultimate buzz, because that's when you actually get to have that one-to-one response with an audience. And we just love playing live. So yeah, that's the ultimate buzz for sure.
And what keeps you positive? I know we're kind of going back towards that whole kind of in terms of sane and giving you the sanity.
You go for it, Tom. Unless
it's just it's an interesting question. What keeps us positive? It's every day you're making small incremental gains, and you sort of see this thing grow and grow. And if you ever just find yourself going back into the negative space, you just have to see how far you've come, and always keep the goal in mind, and that just keeps you on the right path and keep growing.
How about yourself, Jim?
But
go on, sorry, Tom, you didn't finish. Did you finish?
Right. I did finish, yeah.
Okay.
Let me finish.
Yeah.
I think the amazing team that we have around us is fantastic at just keeping us positive and motivated. I think, as Tom says, the incremental gains every day. And on top of that, I think it's just, as anyone in any kind of creative industry knows, you get rejected more in 1 week than most people do in their lives. So I think just kind of developing that Kevlar skin, just in terms of being able to kind of take all of the bad stuff, but it's just about being positive and present in the moment when the good stuff is happening. Like I was lucky that I remembered on the Isle of Wight main stage to just stand there for a second while I think Tom was doing something fancy, and so was everyone else, and just kind of stand and just look and go, well, this is pretty cool. Pass you by.
I'm beginning to see a theme here. So hollow eyes, and then I just heard you say Kevlar skin. So
Kevlar skin, yeah, that's good.
So I just kind of, that's your next track, by the way, that you don't know about, that you're going to create sometime in the future. So yeah. Take it, mate. Take it. It's great. And if you guys weren't musicians, what would you be doing?
Ooh. I know. I always wanted to be a journalist or some kind of writer.
Writing about?
Probably
investigating.
Creative writing.
Tom?
I don't have a clue what I do outside of. It'd be something in it, I'm sure. It'd be something in music, whatever it is. Whether that'll be on, like, I don't know, the label side or something, I don't know, but it would have to be within that sphere. I don't know anything else.
Ideas, man. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't do any work. I just come with the ideas and the coffee.
And you chuck an apple up and down and go, yeah, guys, so good idea today.
Yeah, we need to strategize on social media.
Yeah, synergy.
You've just recently, have you just done, is it the virtual world tour, or are you still doing it, or has that happened?
Yeah. So it's happened. It was terrific just being able to get a performance out to so many different people in the world, like literally kind of I can't remember how many countries, but there were a lot.
It was almost the entire world. Almost, it's crazy.
And is that something that you've had to embrace during this lockdown, where your whole strategy has kind of changed, where you guys are going, look, we need to social distance, right? Okay, from a creative perspective, from a performance point of view, where you're kind of going, we now need to start reaching out to different markets and maybe use more of social media than you. I'm not saying that you haven't done in the past, but doing more of it because you have to.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're pretty hot in the game usually, but I think that we've definitely buckled down and gone for it this time. I mean, in terms of being able to kind of have the outreach to all those countries, we're a band who have quite a few kind of languages between us. So being able to use that and, seeing social media as the tool, which I hope it was originally intended for, to connect people. Being able to use that and to actually kind of, talk to people across the world, either in their language or they talk to us in English or Italian or French, Spanish, whatever. It's really cool. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of being used for what it should be used, to join us all together.
So you all speak so many different languages, a variety of languages. Okay.
Well,
hey, mate. English, speaking Birmingham, Brummie is hard, mate. Trust me. No.
Yeah, so we've got a few between us. So Orlando and Sarah are Italian born, but between all of us, we have Spanish, French, Italian, English, and then little bits of other things. So I can tell you good night in Japanese, which is oyasumi nasai.
Oh, okay.
I can say that in German.
Go on.
Gute Nacht.
Yes.
You're
getting good at German.
I was going to ask, when you swear, which language do you all swear in? Italian.
Brummie, I think.
You're probably not wrong.
That's a very satisfying accent to swear in.
Bleeding heck.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's about as rough as it goes.
We're actually kind of developing a weird hybrid language of English and Italian, because we're around Italians a lot.
It's true.
Certain words are getting replaced with Italian, and we're getting this kind of strange hybrid.
So instead of very good, we say, very bene, very bene.
I'm impressed. But guys, it's been lovely chatting to you. So, how can people find out more about you guys? Have you got a website? Or are you?
We've got it all. We've got it all. Obviously, all the socials, including TikTok. You can find us at electricenemy.uk, and that's got all the links to everywhere you could ever want. We're on Spotify, iTunes, Apple Music, Deezer, Amazon Music, a lot. Every single one of us.
Add us to your playlists.
Add us to your playlist. Keep streaming. Brush your teeth to it. I think Holloway's is just over 3 minutes. Just under 3 minutes, so perfect time.
You know what? I really love that track, by the way. I really do. It's on my playlist. I play it on the radio show that I do, obviously at Big City Radio. And did you have it all mixed as well, didn't you? Was it by the mix masters that you've had that particular track mixed? Done by?
Yeah, so this was done, produced and mixed by Sam Miller, who's a brilliant producer. And he knows how to make things sound big. So he's amazing.
And with all that kind of thing, is that where you're kind of going into different kind of markets, where you kind of might go, oh wait, we're a rock band, and then suddenly through this particular mixing style, suddenly it's almost into kind of the dance scene and changes kind of the perspective on it. Is that kind of things that you're venturing into more?
I think in a lot of ways. I think it's kind of in the first place, it's kind of, I think we are a rock band by name. I was going to say by day. Rock band by name, and but we're just musicians by like attitude, I guess. So it's kind of, if the song is good, we don't and ah too much of just whether or not it's going to be rocky enough. Like, we just want it to be a good tune, make it sound as interesting as possible. So if that means leaning into the dance world or into the pop world or into on a couple of the tracks which are on the album, Yeah, kind of trap. Tom's used trap beats on some of those. We've used absolutely everything.
I think it's sorry.
Go on, Tom.
I think it's our nature is rock. Just by default, we just seem to love rock, but we just can't help but have an open ear to everything. And I mean, genres are kind of non-existent nowadays, aren't they? So we just, if you like something, why not put it into because we're fans of it. So we wear all our influences on our sleeve.
I mean, recently, it sounds sad. I've only just recently discovered TikTok. I've never heard of, and you suddenly realise that this has such a massive influence in the sense that, and are you guys kind of sometimes going, look, we need to create a little bit, something from one of our tunes and do some kind of movement to it or whatever it is, just so that everybody else starts doing it. And then before you know it, everyone else is using that tune as well. I know it's a difficult thing to break into. It's not easy as that, but are there elements of that kind of go on behind the scenes, perhaps?
I think that in a lot of ways, because we try and make the songs kind of, it's almost like they're rock songs, but with a pop structure. So I think that kind of helps in terms of making those little bits. But I will pass you on to the king of TikTok, Tom, because I'm
really not.
It confuses me.
It's sort of one of those things where it's in my mind, but I don't know the answer to it yet. So I think when the opportunity presents itself, then. But it's in my mind for sure that we need something like what Drake did with Tootsie Slide.
Okay,
something like that is in there, but I'm not sure how that will form
what
yet.
is it? The one that I've seen though, I showed it to my kids the other day, and they went, "Dad, that's about 2 years old." But I said, it's only recently I've seen it. Is it the one where they do that, and then the glasses fall down or something on the head?
Oh, I don't know.
It's from a Shaggy song or something like that. So I was like, oh, okay.
I don't think I've seen that one.
Oh, I mean, you're already miles ahead of me, mate. So
yeah, no.
You know, Winston.
Yeah, mate. I'm a dad dancer, so we won't get into dancing.
You can see the influence of TikTok though, because pretty much so much of the top 40 now is dominated by songs that have become huge on TikTok. So it's taking over everything.
It is.
It was only a matter of time. TikTok. There you go.
Yeah. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate it. Keep us updated with anything you're doing, and obviously we can let your millions of fans know what's happening around the world. So, thank you. I'm just going to say stop recording. So, any final words from yourselves?
Just thanks so much for having us, man. Like, it's an absolute pleasure, and thank you for championing our tunes.
No, yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having us. And when this is all over and we can go out again, it'd be great to come to you and play for you.
Yeah,
definitely. Can I hear you say I love Birmingham?
I love. Yeah, me or Jim.
Both of you. Go on. We'll let you say it in the end last time.
All right.
Okay. I love Birmingham.
I love Birmingham.
I like Tom's was the best. Yeah, too much emphasis, Jim. But thank you guys. I'm going to just stop recording. Thank you so much.